All right, so we're back with the 62. The converter finally came in and filled it up with fluid and put it in the transmission, measured everything, made sure it was seated all the way in the transmission. I always like to put a straight edge across it and measure from the hub of the transmission, or the hub of the converter, to the straight edge, make sure it's in deep enough, spin it and check it. And I'm just very OCD about that, making sure that the converter's all the way in. And so had the engine prepped and ready, put the flex plate on and torqued it and everything. And then for some reason I thought that I could put the motor plate on and put it in, because I thought I had done it last time. But once I got it in and started trying to get it over the tabs and all that, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. So I had to pull the motor plate and all back off of it so I could get it into the transmission and then put the plate and the water pump and all on. So I don't know why I thought I could do that. But anyway, I think somebody called me in the middle of that or something, whatever. Was getting everything on the top side put together and all, working everything. And then came out, got out from under the truck, came over, was letting it up. And then as soon as I got the truck up in the air, I was like, oh, crap. So you seen a little meme going around where the guy's putting the transmission in, or the engine or whatever, and then his buddy slides in the converter, which is coincidentally an FTI converter, says, here, you might need this. Well, I've never done that. I've never put one together and then realized I didn't have the torque converter in it. I will admit, one time I was doing it and forgot to put the flex plate on, but I got transmission up in there and then maybe got a couple bolts in and realized that I hadn't put the flex plate in it. But this was a new one for me. Get it all in, and then lo and behold, I realized I forgot this. So this is the hub adapter. It goes in the back of the crankshaft, and then the converter goes in here. So this is an extra one, but I was like, how did I forget that? So anyway, pulled the transmission, took all the transmission bolts out, and took the cross member out, and was able to slide it back far enough and get it up in there. Crisis averted. So that was good news. Another issue we had was this new oil pan. I figured it was going to be problematic, but the drain into the oil pan was a little further back than it was on the F-body pan, just because that's how it worked out. And then when this daggum QA1 cross member with its motor mounts and all, the daggum fitting was right on top of that, so I had to cut out a bunch of stuff on there. And then I go to hook up the plasma cutter, and for some reason it just quit working. It won't even turn on. So I had to use my least favorite tool in the shop, which is a Sawzall, and my little cutoff wheel over here. I was able to use that and clearanced it to where I got that on. So I got that together. Just kept pressing forward, putting everything together. And so now I've got to figure out where I'm going to put my fuel regulator, since before I had it bolted to the top of the intake. I'm thinking about bolting it on that edge above, potentially. I don't know if that'd be a good choice or not. I don't know if this piece on the hood will hit it when it closes or whatnot, but got to figure out a place for that. Then got to hook up the pressure sensor for the fuel pressure. I may have to extend the wires or something to get it over there to plug into that. And then the flex fuel, we got to get that on there. And then with this right here, so this was a 90-degree boot, and as you can see, it doesn't fit. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is cut the charge pipe square right here, and then take a straight 4-inch to 3-inch, and then just build it in aluminum, because I had to have this offset to catch the 90 and reach the stock intake. And coincidentally, this is the piece right here I was trying to cut and almost cut my thumb off. So now I'm gonna have to cut that off completely and then reconfigure the piping. I like to do it with a boot because that'd be the easiest, but I think the cleanest and best thing to do is gonna be to just cut it off square and then just make it come up and then catch that angle straight into the intake. So it was with the gauge finder on, angle finder on there, I think it was like 81 degrees or something. So the 90 just doesn't fit. So that's unfortunate. But, you know, that's part of it when you change configurations and everything. Since this is 9/6-to-1 compression, I'm going to put respring the wastegate back to how it was at around 11 pounds. And now we have the 210 pound per hour injectors in there. And I will be adding another fuel pump in line and have the Holly trigger that. So, you know, figure out what boost we want to turn that on and make sure we've got plenty of fuel. And then I think that's about it. Just try to see where we go from there. We'll still have the water meth, so I'm hoping that with the water meth and everything and the 11-pound spring, we'll be able to kind of run it and use the meth, because primarily I'd like to stay on pump gas, and then when I want to turn it up, put some ethanol in it and run off of that. Like I say, the only thing I don't like about the ethanol is just that the inherent nature of it turning into that black goo, and you know, sometimes that it can be very problematic. Some people never have an issue with it, and I've had it clog a set of injectors on me. The car was down, you know, or sat for a little while, and then it just clogged up and gummed up the injectors, and then Eric Durr flowed them and cleaned them, and I don't think they came all the way clean. So I don't know. Ethanol is good, but it's bad. So if you can get good ethanol and it doesn't have those problems, and I've also saw one the other day where they were talking about they had added that Lucas treatment, which I used to do when I ran ethanol frequently, and they had a bunch of issues with it. So like I say, some people have great success with ethanol, and you know, some people don't. So but I think if you have it in there and you run it a good bit, and then maybe, you know, just switch back and forth between the pump gas and the ethanol, it might work best just to kind of keep it from not sitting and just keep altering it to make sure it stays clean and not gummed up. But you know, it'll get in the fuel filters and just completely pack and plug up the fuel filters, and that's why it's so important with the fuel pressure sensor. So if there is an issue, you have a safety setup in the Holly, whereas if pressure is not rising 1-to-1, you know, it'll revert to wastegate, or you know, however you have your safety set up. But that is one of the big things I like about the Holly, is being able to set up the safeties and oil pressure, fuel pressure, boost spikes. There's just so much you can do with the Holly as far as that goes. But so I didn't have enough oil, so I gotta get some oil, a couple of things like that. I want to turn it over without the spark plugs in there, get the oil flowing through the motor and everything before we start it, and hopefully hear it run pretty soon, and drive it some, see how the tune does. I talked to Michael. He said that the tune that was in it should be pretty good. Obviously, we'll change the cubic inches and the injector data and everything, and double check the timing, see what kind of timing we had in it. But I think we're getting there. I'm hoping that this one runs well and serves me well for a long time, because it's just I don't know what it is about this truck. I'm thinking maybe it's because it hasn't been away from its property this long before, so apparently it doesn't like it at my house. But I don't know. It's just I hope everything goes well with it and all. Like I say, the first engine, I think was maybe a freak deal with all the blow by in it, and then the second deal, was kind of my fault. Was just I was just trying to find a replacement, and again, I almost bought this motor before I did the 6.2 over here, but because I couldn't use the Liberty heads off of there onto this motor is the only reason I didn't buy it before. But the thing is, I didn't know he had these Frankenstein heads, so had I known that, I might would have gone this route. But anyway, I think it all worked out, other than the pain and heartache of going through the whole Denali deal and everything. But I'm going to try to get the 6.2, find another crank for it. Or, well, now that I got a free engine stand over here, I'll throw it on the engine stand and just check it out and inspect the bottom end and see if and how bad the crank is hurt from the two rods that I know that it kicked, and just kind of assess the damage on it. And I'd like to try to fix it, put it back together, and either keep it for another project or sell it and try to recoup some of my money. We know that's basically what was in the Cadillac, so we know that this setup would basically be a 500 wheel horsepower setup, and we could go with a little more aggressive camshaft in it, and we know it'd clear 500 at the tires. Of course, that's in a manual car. The automatic slush-o-matic's gonna eat some of that horsepower, but just have a good solid foundation for something in the future. So I don't know. I hadn't really gotten there yet. I want to get this done, and then it's just so much in the background. Everybody want me to do everything for them and stuff, that I'm just trying to keep everything going in order and get things fixed and going. And I'm so happy to see this thing in here again. Like I say, I hope that this one works out for us. But anyway, that's the update on that. Like I say, I'll try to get it running hopefully today or tomorrow or this week or something, and we'll go from there.